Hello and welcome. Today is Friday, April 3rd, and it would be an A day if we were still in school. And as becoming my tradition with these days, we are going to be talking about reading. And for today's video, I'm going to go over a couple of books that I really enjoy if I don't get whacked too frequently in the face with this, because Loco decided he wants to be a part of this video. And now he's good. All right, so I'm going to go over just a couple of books that I have that I enjoy, some books that my son really enjoys, and if you look over my shoulder where Loco is trying to direct your attention, Henry's reading one of his favorite books, Snuggle Puppy. So thank you, Henry, for continuing to be a part of this. All right, so books, reading. One of my favorite all-time authors is Tony Horowitz. Tony Horowitz was a writer for the New York Times. He unfortunately passed away last year unexpectedly, but he had a tremendous style and chose to write about historical events. And typically he did so in a really entertaining fashion, in that he would go to the location where the historical event took place and try to write about it in such a way that he would have a chapter that talked about the actual historical event, and then it would be followed by a chapter wherein he would talk about what that place looks like now and what the connection was like between those. So one of the earliest books of his that I read was this one, Confederates in the Attic. And Confederates in the Attic deals with the connection in the South and the lingering, let's say, wounds, memories of the Civil War. And it's a tremendous, tremendous book. If you have any interest in history, particularly American history, and the things that go on that shape particularly the civil rights movement and the issues we still have in terms of racism and civil rights, this is a great book to look at and to read. And I can't recommend that enough. His last book that he wrote, which came out last year that I'm reading right now, is similarly tied to that. And that's this one, Spying on the South. And, you know, this one really deals again with the South, and it talks about really how we've gotten to this place where there's this like dichotomy between, you know, mindset in our country. And it's a really interesting look at the glorification of certain lifestyles. He talks about the tourist industry that exists in our country with plantations and so forth, and how that's oftentimes when people book weddings at plantations and so forth, it's kind of glossed over the fact that, you know, people are celebrating marriages at a location where slavery existed for hundreds of years. So again, Spying on the South, excellent book. But again, these books are going to be obviously higher level reading. All right. If you have a great interest in history and nonfiction, they're wonderful books, but you have to be aware that they're higher level. All right. Now, I, being a teacher, also read books like this, Beyond Measure, which deal with the world of education and so forth. And this one talks about, you know, the idea of standardized testing. This, of course, probably wouldn't interest too many students, but if there's anyone who's not a student watching these videos, this would be a good one too. My son, Dominic, he's a big fan of Dog Man. And, you know, on independent reading days on Fridays, I've seen a couple of my students read Captain Underpants and so forth. And, you know, same vein, but this is one of his favorites. I think this is the one that came out recently that he was really excited for. So, Dog Man. And here's another book that he's been reading, Pax, which is actually a great book. We actually alternate usually with this one. Dominic will read a chapter, and sometimes I'll read him a chapter. And I think this one could be a great book for students in 6th and 7th grade as well. My son's in 4th grade. He's always been an avid reader. And I think this one can span, you know, upper elementary school into middle school, depending on your interest. But, you know, it deals with a young boy who is trying to cope with an interesting family structure, and who had a friend who was a fox. And when the fox is let go, you know, the fox starts to decide he wants to come back. So you get it from the perspective of the fox named Pax. So this is a great book as well. And one last book that I want to mention, and again, this is really secondary, upper secondary level, so high school level, is Why Be Happy When You Could Be Normal. Now, this is going to deal with issues surrounding LGBT identity and so forth. And it's going to be a hard book to read for multiple reasons, but for my students or anybody who watches this that has any connection to that, this is a great book to read. But again, upper level, something to check out. Powerful book to read. It can be difficult to read, but something to think about. So, short video, read a book. In New York right now, it's a little rainy, but if you can, get out. And this weekend, please decompress, relax, try to do something non-academic and something for yourself. Otherwise, have a good day. Bye.